Okay, welcome back, guys. So in this video, I want to talk about the difference between flexibility and mobility. And some people think it's the same thing, but it really isn't. So they say, well, I stretch. I stretch my hamstrings. I stretch my abductors, adductors. I stretch my quads. Shouldn't I be good? No. Flexibility is what we think of when we think of stretch. So if you take two words, flexibility as opposed to mobility. What flexibility is the range of motion around the joint. Okay? What mobility is the actual range of motion within a joint. Flexibility, you're talking about muscles and lengthening muscles, things like that. Mobility, you're applying to the joint and describing the actual motion that you can get out of that. Okay? So if someone lacks flexibility, we recommend stretching and lengthening the muscles and working on that. But if you lack mobility, then you need to work on mobilizing that joint. Okay? So stretching alone will only give you a temporary gain to allow the access with a greater range of motion so that you can really start working on the mobility of that joint. So they have found that people who mobilize their joints properly and safely and reposition things, it can be more of a lifetime thing as opposed to a temporary thing. So you stretch and 2 days later, you're just as tight as you started, because flexibility is an ongoing, I've got to work on that, I've got to work on that. Not that mobility isn't as well, but it's different. If you've ever gone to a massage therapist or a chiropractor and you realize what they're doing, they're mobilizing things for you temporary so that now you get in there and you do that strengthening work and you keep up that work so that you're not having to go back to them for years and years and years. That's what they're designed to. Some of them, unfortunately, will just want you coming back, but the really good ones will say, hey, let's work on this strengthening. Let's give you these exercises so you can do in between so that when you come back, you're not as out of alignment, okay? So keeping in mind, that's the difference between flexibility and mobility. And what I want to work on with this little set of drills is your mobility, okay? So hopefully we'll see you and you will do these with me.